Hello, my friend. If you've found your way here, chances are you've been wondering, like so many of us do, how to stay calm when life becomes unpredictable. Maybe you faced moments when everything felt like it was slipping through your fingers. You tried to take control. You planned, pushed, forced outcomes, and still, chaos found a way in. And now, you may be wondering, is there a better way? What if true power doesn't come from control, but from calm? Today, I want to take you on a journey that reveals how calmness, pure, practiced stillness, can become your most valuable ally in a world that often feels out of control. We'll explore 11 powerful lessons rooted in Stoicism, practiced by some of the greatest minds in history, and tested in unimaginable circumstances. But first, let me tell you a story, not from philosophy books, but from real life, a story of a man whose quiet strength changed everything. His name was Richard Callahan. He was a decorated U.S. Navy pilot, highly trained, disciplined, the kind of man who had been prepared for nearly any challenge in the skies. He flew missions with precision, operated multi-million-dollar aircrafts with exacting control, but all that changed in an instant. During a dangerous mission in the midst of the Vietnam War, Richard's plane was hit. In seconds, everything spiraled. There was no time to think, no moment to prepare. Just the sound of tearing metal, the jolt of impact, the fall from the sky. He ejected, his parachute deployed, and long before he hit the ground, he knew the worst had only just begun. He had landed in enemy territory. And within moments, he was captured. They dragged him through the dirt, beat him like a criminal, treated him as though his life held no value. And then they locked him away in a dark cell. Alone, not for days, not even for months. Richard Callahan would spend the next 7 years of his life as a prisoner of war. Held in near total isolation, tortured, starved, and subjected to psychological trauma most people cannot imagine. Many broke under the weight of those years. They lost hope. They surrendered to fear, to despair, to the crushing loneliness. But Richard didn't. It wasn't because he was physically stronger than the others. And it wasn't because he had a hidden source of power or superhuman toughness. What Richard had was something else, an unshakable sense of calm and a mind trained in the teachings of Stoicism. While his body was imprisoned, his mind remained free. He remembered something the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said: "It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them." Richard couldn't control his circumstances, but he could control how he interpreted them. He couldn't stop them from hitting him, but he could choose how he responded. He couldn't escape, but he could keep the one thing they could never take, his perspective. So he did something extraordinary. In that tiny, dark prison cell, Richard made a decision. He would resist, not with violence, but with strength of mind. He became a silent leader among the prisoners. He created a secret system of communication so no one would feel alone. He taught others how to endure, how to stay mentally unbroken, how to survive psychologically when everything outside was screaming defeat. His captors wanted to crush him. But every day, he whispered to himself, "This will not define me. I am more than this." And he was. When the war ended and he was finally released, people were stunned. They asked him, "How did you survive?" And his answer was as simple as it was powerful: "I accepted the reality. But I never lost faith in my ability to overcome it." That, my friend, is the very heart of Stoicism. You don't control what happens to you. You control how you respond. That's where calm becomes your strength. So now, ask yourself, what's disturbing your calm today? A work issue? A breakup? A day that didn't go as planned? Whatever it is, if Richard Callahan could find inner peace in one of the most terrifying experiences imaginable, you can too. The first lesson we learn is that calm is not weakness, it's your greatest weapon. Picture yourself as a Formula One driver. The car is moving at 200 miles per hour. Every second counts. Then you take a sharp turn. The tires lose grip. Panic rises. You can react in two ways. First, you could freeze, jerk the wheel out of fear. Try to regain control impulsively. But that only sends the car off the track. The second response is different. You stay calm. You feel the slide, recognize the danger, and gently adjust. You regain control with precision. And just like that, you're back in the race. The best drivers in the world aren't the most aggressive. They're the ones who stay calm under pressure. Life is the same. When something goes wrong, your first impulse might be fear, anger, frustration, But if you learn to breathe and respond rather than react, you stay in control. We live in a world that praises speed, reaction, and hustle. But Stoicism teaches us that real strength lies in clarity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are disturbed by something external, it is not the thing itself that troubles you, but your judgment about it." And neuroscience agrees. When you panic, it's your amygdala taking over, the part of the brain that triggers fear responses. But when you stay calm, you engage your prefrontal cortex, the part that evaluates, analyzes, makes wise decisions. A study by the Institute of Cognitive Neuroscience in London found that people who train their calmness perform better under pressure. They make smarter decisions, they think more clearly. So the next time life throws a curve, don't react with emotion, respond with intention. Now, this may all sound good in theory, but you might be wondering, how do I actually train myself to be calm in the real world? One strategy is what I call the observer technique. When a stressful moment hits, imagine you're not in it. Imagine you're watching it happen to someone else, a character in a movie. Ask yourself, what would I tell that person to do? This mental shift helps you detach, take a step back, and gain clarity. Another method? Practice calm every day in small things. Think about this. If you drop a carton of eggs at home, what's your first instinct? To curse? Yell? Blame the universe? That moment, however trivial it seems, is your training ground. Because if a minor annoyance can steal your calm, how will you stay composed when real problems hit? Calmness is like a muscle. You don't build it in a crisis, you build it in the quiet moments. You don't become strong by lifting a car. You start with small weights. And the same is true for emotional control. Every little test, traffic jams, spilled coffee, someone cutting you off, gives you a chance to practice. So ask yourself, how often do I train my calmness? Or do I let every irritation control my mood? Another important idea. Let go of trying to control everything. You might think that if you just plan better, say the right things, do everything perfectly, you'll avoid chaos. But have you noticed? The harder you try to control outcomes, the more out of control you feel. Maybe you try to change your partner, your parents, your coworkers. You give advice, you plead, you demand, and they don't listen. That's because people aren't puzzles to be solved. They're realities to be accepted. Stoicism teaches us to focus only on what's within our control, our actions, our thoughts, our reactions, nothing more. In fact, studies show that people who accept uncertainty are more emotionally stable than those who try to control everything. In one experiment, people were divided into two groups. One had full control over a task. The other didn't. Who felt more stress? Surprisingly, the ones who expected to be in control felt more anxious when things went wrong. The ones who embraced uncertainty adapted faster. Life is not a straight highway. It's more like the ocean. You can't control the waves, but you can adjust your sails. And then there's the simple but powerful practice of gratitude. It might sound soft or cliché, but gratitude shifts your mind. It reframes your focus. One day, I began writing down 3 things I was grateful for every morning. And little by little, my mind stopped obsessing over problems and started noticing beauty. The way the sunlight hit the trees, the sound of laughter, a moment of peace before a meeting. Try it. Every morning, sit up, stretch, and say, "Thank you," out loud. Then, before bed, write down 3 things that made you smile. Your brain will start focusing not on what's missing, but on what's already here. Even in illness, the mind plays a crucial role. I once knew a man who spent every day at the hospital, dreading the future. His mind was full of what ifs. What if I get worse? What if I never heal? He was trapped in fear. Until one day, he heard a simple sentence from a coach: "The quality of your thoughts defines the quality of your life." That changed everything. He stopped focusing on what was wrong and started focusing on how to face it. That shift, from fear to purpose, was his key to resilience. And it can be yours. 2. When challenges hit, instead of saying, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" Every storm teaches something, and one of the greatest tools for remaining calm? Your breath. The 4-7-8 technique is one of the simplest ways to reset your nervous system. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 7, exhale for 8. Do it 3 times. It tells your body, you're safe, you're grounded, you're in control. Also, silence. We avoid it. We fill every moment with noise, music, podcasts, conversations. But silence is not the enemy. It's the doorway to clarity. When you sit quietly, even for 5 minutes, you give your mind space to think, reflect, reset. A study from Duke University showed that silence helps the brain reorganize thoughts and manage stress better. You don't need hours, just moments. Moments of stillness to remind yourself, I don't need to rush. I don't need to react. I just need to breathe. Another surprisingly effective strategy? Use your hands. When the mind races, focus on something physical. Wash the dishes, fold laundry, water your plants. These simple actions anchor you in the present. They give your brain a break from spiraling thoughts. When words aren't enough, let your hands do the work. And you'll notice something strange, clarity returns. Finally, begin your day with intention. Don't let your phone dictate the first thought in your mind. Start small, make your bed, stretch, eat slowly, visualize the kind of day you want to have. Don't let the day control you. You control how it begins. Even the smallest ritual can remind you, you're the author of this day. Not your inbox, not the news, you. So, my friend, I ask you again, what is stealing your calm today? Whatever it is, remember, you can't control everything, but you can always control your response. And your calm response might be the very thing that changes everything. Just like Richard Callahan, just like countless Stoics before you, you are stronger than the chaos. You are not defined by what happens to you. You are defined by what you do with it. Thank you for being here, for listening, and for choosing the path of growth. Keep walking with calm in your heart and clarity in your mind. Until next time, stay strong and stay stoic.